Have you ever wondered why some people seem unshaken by chaos, calm in the storm, clear in the fog, while others drift, lost in the noise of daily life? The Stoics believed the answer lies not in talent or luck, but in the quiet rituals we repeat each day. Habits, small, often invisible acts of discipline that shape the arc of our lives. They are the chisels with which we sculpt our character, moment by moment, to rise early with intention, to train the body, not for vanity, but for strength of will, to journal, reflect, and correct the course, to speak less and listen more. These are not tasks, they are acts of self-mastery. If you do this daily, it doesn't just mean you're productive, it means you've chosen a higher path, the path of the philosopher in action. As Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." This is not about perfection, it's about direction. And if any of this speaks to you, then stay with me, because this might be the turning point you've been preparing for all along. Chapter 1. The Power of Waking Up with Purpose. What if the first thing you did each morning wasn't just waking up, but waking upward, toward clarity, toward strength, toward who you are meant to become? The way you begin your day silently shapes the way you live your life. For the Stoics, the morning was sacred. Epictetus urged his students to greet each day with intention, to remind themselves, "You are not here to please others. You are here to fulfill your purpose." Waking up with purpose isn't about beating the alarm clock. It's about rising with direction before the world has a chance to pull you off course. It is choosing to take command of your mindset before external forces try to claim it. A morning filled with reflection, movement, gratitude, or a few moments of silence becomes a quiet declaration. I am the one steering this ship. If you begin each day by grounding yourself, reviewing your priorities, setting your intention, reconnecting with your highest values, you signal to your mind that you are not a passenger in life. You are the captain, and where you go from here is up to you. Those who neglect this moment become reactive, pushed around by the noise, the chaos, the urgency of others. But those who rise with purpose build their day from the inside out. To wake with purpose is to reclaim your time, your thoughts, your direction. It is to rise, not with anxiety, but with awareness, not with distraction, but with discipline. And if you do this every day, it means you are no longer living by default. You are living by design. Begin each morning with this simple truth. Your first decision sets the tone for the rest. Make it a decision of intention, and you'll find the rest of the day bending in your favor. Chapter 2. The Habit of Embracing Discomfort. Why do so many run from what's hard, while a rare few run toward it? The Stoics saw discomfort not as something to avoid, but as a tool to sharpen the soul. Musonius Rufus, the teacher of Epictetus, taught that comfort weakens, but hardship builds virtue. To choose discomfort is to choose strength, not for show, but for substance. When you willingly step outside your comfort zone each day, whether through cold exposure, intense training, fasting, or facing what you fear, you are declaring, I will not be ruled by ease. Most people allow the craving for comfort to dictate their choices, but that path leads to stagnation. The more we avoid hardship, the less prepared we become when real trials arrive. But if you train yourself daily to face discomfort, life's challenges no longer shake you, they shape you. The Stoics practiced voluntary hardship not to suffer, but to fortify their minds. Sleeping on the ground, eating simply, exposing themselves to the cold. These weren't acts of misery, they were declarations of freedom. Freedom from the tyranny of luxury, freedom from fear. Every time you push yourself to do what's difficult, you expand your capacity to endure. You build a quiet inner power. The body and mind adapt. What once felt unbearable becomes second nature. If you do this every day, it means you've chosen growth over comfort, mastery over mediocrity. You're not simply enduring, you are evolving. And when the inevitable storms of life come, you will not break. You will rise, not because you were spared discomfort, but because you trained for it. So, lean into the challenge. Embrace the cold, the silence, the resistance. Not to suffer, but to strengthen, not to punish, but to prepare. This is how greatness is forged, not in comfort, but in the fire of chosen struggle. Chapter 3. The Ritual of Mental Clarity. A restless mind is like a stormy sea, turbulent, scattered, and without direction. But a clear mind, it is calm, deliberate, and powerful. The Stoics understood that mastery of life begins with mastery of thought. Cletus, a lesser-known yet profound Stoic, once likened the mind to a garden. Neglected, it grows weeds. Tended daily, it produces wisdom. If you make it a habit to clear your mind each day, you are not just organizing thoughts, you are shaping your destiny. In today's world, clarity is under constant attack. Endless notifications, sensational headlines, and shallow content compete for your attention. The modern mind is overloaded, reacting, not reflecting. But if you carve out time daily for stillness, for reflection, for focused thought, you reclaim the helm of your own ship. Whether through journaling, meditation, or simply sitting in silence, this ritual creates space between stimulus and response. It trains you to act from reason, not impulse. Like Marcus Aurelius, who wrote not for praise but for perspective, you can use words to align your thoughts with your values. This isn't about ignoring the world, it's about filtering what truly matters. Emotional detachment from drama and noise is not coldness, it's wisdom. Ask yourself, does this thought serve me? Does this input guide me or distract me? If it brings no value, let it go. Clarity comes from intention, from focusing deeply on one task rather than scattering your energy, from resisting the illusion of multitasking. When you learn to focus, you begin to think clearly. And when you think clearly, you begin to live intentionally. If you do this every day, it means you've chosen awareness over distraction, depth over noise. It means you are building a fortress of calm in a chaotic world. And within that calm, you will find your greatest power, the ability to respond wisely, live purposefully, and lead yourself with unwavering direction. Chapter 4. The Discipline of Doing What You Say. In a world full of talkers, the one who follows through becomes unforgettable. Keeping your promises to others, but more importantly to yourself, is a rare form of self-respect. Most people speak of goals, but abandon them when discomfort arrives. They say they'll wake early, start the business, get in shape, but when the moment comes, they hesitate, delay, and break their own word. And with each broken promise, they chip away at their self-trust. The Stoics saw discipline as the highest expression of integrity. To them, character was not measured by what you claimed, but by what you did when no one was watching. Musonius Rufus taught that self-control and reliability were not just moral traits, they were the foundation of a meaningful life. Doing what you say means holding yourself to a higher standard, even when no one's holding you accountable. It means your word is not a casual expression. It's a contract with your future self. And if you honor that contract daily, you separate yourself from the many who never cross the threshold from intention to execution. Every time you follow through on a promise, you reinforce the belief that you can count on yourself. Confidence grows, not from hype or external praise, but from the quiet pride of consistent action. You don't need to talk about what you're going to do. Your actions speak louder, and over time, they echo. Those who build this discipline become beacons of trust. Others notice, not because you boast, but because you deliver. Your word begins to carry weight. Your presence commands respect without effort. You become someone others trust, not because of charisma, but because of consistency. This discipline must be practiced in the small things. If you say you'll wake up early, do it. If you commit to a task, complete it. Each minor promise kept becomes a brick in the foundation of unshakable self-belief. And when bigger challenges come, you won't flinch because you've trained for this. Excuses are abundant. Discipline is rare. And those who learn to act regardless of convenience, emotion, or fatigue, those who show up even when inspiration is gone, become the ones who achieve what others only wish for. When motivation fades, discipline must carry you. It is the bridge between who you are now and who you could become. The greatest athletes, thinkers, and leaders, those who made a mark, shared this trait. They did what they said they would do, especially when it was hard. If you do this every day, it means you are not just reliable, you are becoming unstoppable. Discipline doesn't just create results, it forges identity. And in that identity lies the strength to shape your future, one commitment at a time. Chapter 5. The Habit of Guarding Your Energy. Not everyone deserves access to your time, your thoughts, or your presence. The way you protect your energy says everything about how much you value your life. The Stoics warned us, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. These words from Marcus Aurelius weren't meant to instill fear, but clarity. Your time is finite, your energy is limited, and what you give it to will shape who you become. Your attention is a form of currency. Where you spend it determines your return. If you constantly invest it in gossip, distractions, and superficial interactions, you'll feel drained, unfocused, and stuck. But if you direct it toward learning, discipline, and meaningful connection, the returns will be exponential. Greater clarity, confidence, and purpose. The mind is a garden. Plant weeds, negativity, trivial drama, toxic influence, and those weeds will grow wildly, choking everything valuable. But if you plant wisdom, intention, and focus, your inner world will become fertile ground for growth. Every conversation, every thought, every commitment is either lifting you or dragging you. The question is, are you choosing consciously or letting others choose for you? Guarding your energy isn't isolation, it's refinement. It's the deliberate act of saying no to what does not serve your purpose. Say no to needless arguments, to notifications that steal your attention, to people who drain your clarity with chaos. Not out of arrogance, but out of reverence for your potential. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." The greatest minds, from Zeno to Da Vinci, understood this. They filtered the noise. They structured their days with care. They didn't allow distractions to fracture their focus. To live with purpose, you must learn to protect your focus like a warrior protects his shield. Let your time reflect your priorities. Let your attention be guided by your values. Say no to anything that doesn't align with your long-term vision. Avoid gossip, idle talk, mindless scrolling. These things may feel harmless, but they dilute your strength. Choose instead to engage in conversations that challenge your thinking, build your character, and expand your perspective. If you do this every day, if you fiercely guard your energy, you will begin to rise above the noise. You will notice how calm sharpens, how clarity returns, how direction becomes second nature. You'll stop reacting and start creating. This is not just a habit, it's a way of being, a declaration that your life is not for rent to every demand, every distraction, every voice that asks for your attention. This is how you evolve, not through doing more, but through choosing less, and choosing it wisely. Chapter 6. The Art of Emotional Mastery. Most people live at the mercy of their emotions, pulled by impulse, shaken by external chaos, reacting instead of responding. But the Stoics taught that true freedom begins when you learn to govern yourself, especially your inner world. Emotions are natural. Fear, anger, excitement, frustration, they are part of being human, but they are not meant to rule you. To feel is not weakness. To be ruled by what you feel, that is what steals your strength. Epictetus reminded us, it's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about them. What happens outside you is not your true challenge. It is what happens within that determines your fate. If you take time each day to examine your emotions, to observe them without being swept away, you are practicing something rare and powerful. You are no longer a slave to impulse. You are the one at the helm. Emotional mastery is not about suppression. It's about awareness. The ability to pause, reflect, and choose your response, even in the face of anger, pain, or fear. When you can remain steady amid turbulence, you gain a quiet power that few possess. In a world that rewards outrage and reacts with haste, your calm becomes a weapon. Your patience becomes your armor. Your ability to feel deeply but act wisely sets you apart. The Stoics didn't reject emotion, they refined it. They trained their minds to stay composed, to transform pain into wisdom and adversity into strength. And so must you. If you do this every day, observe, reflect, and respond with intention, it means you are no longer living in reaction to the world. You are shaping your world from the inside out. Emotional mastery is not the absence of feeling, it is the elevation of it. And those who master their emotions are those who lead, endure, and inspire. Chapter 7. The Discipline of Focused Action. In a world that demands your attention at every turn, the ability to focus is nothing short of a superpower. Most people live scattered, jumping from task to task, from one distraction to another, never fully present, never truly effective. But if you cultivate focused action every day, it means you've chosen a different path. A path of depth over distraction, of deliberate effort over busy noise. The Stoic philosopher Heracles once taught that clarity in action arises from clarity in thought, and clarity in thought comes only when the mind is not fractured. To do meaningful work, you must first eliminate what does not matter. Focused action is the art of saying no. No to meaningless obligations. No to shallow multitasking. No to the constant buzz of distractions that steal your momentum. Seneca said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere. Those who chase everything achieve nothing." When you train yourself to concentrate deeply, you unlock a hidden reservoir of power. You begin to enter flow states, where time fades and excellence emerges. With just a few focused hours, you accomplish what others spend entire days trying to finish, because your energy is undivided and your intention is clear. The modern world thrives on keeping you reactive, endless notifications, headlines, and dopamine traps. But focused individuals flip the script. They reclaim their time. They guard their attention. They choose depth over noise. Set clear intentions each day. Choose one essential task. Eliminate every distraction and give it your complete attention. Even just 60 to 90 minutes of pure, undisturbed work can move your life forward more than a full day of scattered effort. If you do this every day, it means you've stepped into the realm of mastery. You are no longer pulled by the chaos. You are propelled by clarity. You don't merely work, you execute with precision. And that is what sets apart the ordinary from the exceptional. True progress doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what matters, fully, deeply, and with unwavering focus. Chapter 8. The Habit of Commanding Presence. True presence is not measured by volume, but by depth. It's not how loud you speak, it's how profoundly you're felt when you enter a room. The person who has mastered themselves carries an invisible force. They don't demand attention, they embody it. The Stoics believed that real power begins within. Cleanthes once wrote that inner composure is the mark of a noble soul. When your mind is stable, your presence reflects that stillness, calm, deliberate, undeniable. If you practice this habit daily, it means you've begun to lead not just with words, but with energy. Commanding presence is not arrogance, it's alignment. You move with purpose because your intentions are clear. You listen with intensity because you're not distracted by the noise. You speak with weight because your words are chosen, not thrown. You act with calm because you are not pulled by impulse or fear. The one who possesses this kind of presence is not seeking validation. They are offering certainty. While others rush to be seen, you let your stillness be noticed. While others raise their voice to prove a point, you let your silence carry conviction. When you enter a room with posture, eye contact, and calm energy, people feel it. When you speak slowly and with meaning, they listen. When you hold steady in chaos, they trust you, even without knowing why. This is not something you fake. It's something you build through discipline, emotional mastery, and intentional living. Every day you choose to respond instead of react, to stand firm in discomfort, to hold your values over popularity. You strengthen your presence. If you do this every day, it means you've begun to master not just how you act, but how you exist. And that kind of presence, the kind that speaks without shouting, influences without controlling, and commands without force, is what truly separates a person of noise from a person of substance. Let your presence speak long before your words do. That is the way of the Stoic. Chapter 9. The Art of Strategic Patience. In an age addicted to speed, patience has become a revolutionary act. While the world chases shortcuts and instant rewards, the wise understand anything truly great takes time. If you practice patience daily, it means you've embraced a deeper truth, that success is not an event, but a process. The Stoic philosopher Rufus, mentor to Epictetus, taught that endurance is not passive waiting, but a conscious commitment to long-term vision. True mastery is born not in the rush of ambition, but in the discipline of steady progress. Strategic patience is not laziness. It's not waiting and hoping. It's showing up day after day, even when results are invisible. It's putting in the work, not for applause, but for the integrity of the process. The greatest craftsmen, warriors, and thinkers in history didn't rise overnight. They endured seasons of uncertainty, slow gains, and silent effort. When you commit to long-term goals, setbacks become part of the design, not reasons to quit. You adjust, you refine, you keep moving. Like a tree digging deep roots before rising tall, your patience lays the foundation for greatness that lasts. Every small act of discipline compounds. Every moment you resist the lure of instant gratification strengthens your mental resolve. When others burn out chasing quick wins, you remain centered, knowing that time is your ally, not your enemy. Strategic patience means trusting the timing of growth, delaying reward, mastering the art of not yet. It's choosing depth over speed, quality over quickness. Train patience in simple ways. Pause before reacting. Take the longer route. Let silence linger in conversation. These small acts build mental muscle. Over time, you become unshaken by delay, unmoved by pressure. If you do this every day, it means you're not just enduring, you're evolving. You are playing the long game, and in that game, the most patient player always wins. Because in the end, greatness is never rushed. It is revealed, slowly, steadily, to those who are willing to wait, to work, and to trust the process. Chapter 10. The Unshakable Mindset of Mastery. If you do these habits every day, it means you've entered a rare realm, a state of mind where life can no longer break you. You've cultivated the inner resilience to face failure, rejection, and hardship without losing your center. You don't run from challenge, you move toward it. You no longer fear obstacles, you welcome them as part of the path. The Stoics understood that adversity is not an interruption, it is the curriculum. Cleanthes, a lesser-known Stoic, once said that difficulty is what refines the soul. To rise through hardship is to rise toward greatness. Each trial you endure becomes another sharpening stone for your character. Each setback, a silent mentor guiding you toward strength. You have reached a point where adversity fuels your ascent. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but rather, "What is this preparing me for?" Every hardship adds another brick to the fortress of your mind. You are not just surviving pain, you are transforming it into power. This is what it means to have an unshakable mindset. Not the absence of struggle, but the ability to stand firm within it. Not to merely endure, but to dominate, to advance with resolve even when the road is steep. You see hardship not as punishment, but as preparation. You've trained yourself to adapt, to adjust, and to act with unwavering purpose. To reach this stage is to rise above the average mind that seeks only comfort. You've chosen the path of the warrior, the one who welcomes pressure because pressure reveals strength. You do not complain, you observe, you do not hesitate, you execute. This is anti-fragility in action, becoming stronger through stress, not in spite of it. You understand that all things, both good and bad, are temporary. That perspective is your weapon. You've trained your focus to remain fixed on your long-term vision, knowing that consistency compounds and discipline carries you when motivation fades. If you wake up with purpose, embrace discomfort, clear your mind, honor your word, guard your energy, and maintain strategic patience. You are no longer reactive. You are in command. And when you are in command, good things don't just happen. You make them happen. This is the Stoic way. This is the mindset of mastery. If you do these things every day, the change won't be instant, but it will be lasting. You're not just surviving, you're evolving. This is the Stoic path. Comment. I choose this. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more. Your next breakthrough might be one quiet habit away.